ever felt the urge to just disappear? Not just move to a new city, but to truly drop everything and start over somewhere no one knows your name? Imagine it for a second. Just you, an old backpack, the wind blowing hard, and that bittersweet feeling that you can finally be whoever you want to be. Now, what if I told you that the desire to vanish, to run from everyone and everything, might not be about freedom, but about the scars we try to hide, even from ourselves? In today's video, we're going to look at the story of Chris McCandless from Into the Wild and uncover what really drives someone to want to disappear completely. Spoiler: it's not just about adventure. It runs much deeper than that. You might know Chris from that famous photograph, that look lost in his own thoughts sitting in the snow, far from everything. On the surface, he seems like just another rebellious young man searching for meaning, leaving society behind to truly live. But we know here that no one leaves everything behind without a reason. Behind every escape, there's a wound trying to heal. And the truth is, Chris' journey reveals so much about the things that silently hurt inside of us, and where we search for the cure. Today, you're not just watching another video. You're embarking on a journey back inward, to revisit your own escape routes, your inner allies, and your inner enemies. Are you ready to walk this path with me? The Great Erasure, the birth of Alexander Supertramp. To the outside world, Chris was that brilliant student with a guaranteed future and a picture-perfect family. But the calm was only on the surface. When he graduated, instead of following the script, he did the unthinkable. He donated all his money, abandoned his car, tore up his documents, and even burned the last bills in his wallet, as if he could erase every trace of his former self. In that moment, Supertramp was born, the name he chose for himself to mark the separation. You know that urge to delete your social media, change your phone number, and just fall off the grid? Chris took that impulse to its absolute extreme. This wasn't teenage rebellion. It was a disguised cry for help, to erase who he had been, to give a new self a chance to be born. How many times have you imagined disappearing, just to see who's left when you're all that's left? The epicenter of pain, family secrets, and the collapse of trust. At the heart of Chris's escape was something few people knew. He had discovered, almost by accident, the biggest lie of his life. His father, who had been his safe harbor, was secretly keeping a second family. The ground fell out from under him. Everything he thought was true became a performance. After that, every family dinner, every happy birthday, sounded hollow. That college fund? To him, it became a symbol of masks, of affection that was bought, never genuine. There are some wounds you can't put into words. You can only try to outrun the feeling, when the person who should protect you is the one who hurts you in your most vulnerable place. Trust stops being a shelter and becomes a trap. This isn't just about a toxic family. It's about the feeling that no one is really who they seem to be. And so, Chris's escape became a search for purity, for relationships and places where nothing was hidden. And this wound, deep and sharp, became the blueprint for a new way of operating in the world. Extreme self-reliance. Maximum defense, from fear to radical self-reliance. After that shock, trusting someone felt like walking barefoot on broken glass. Chris began to believe that the only safety was in being alone. He refused rides, food, even sincere affection, not out of pride, but because being vulnerable felt lethal. Imagine if you, hurt by someone you bet everything on, ended up building walls and acting like an island, even when surrounded by people. With every "no, thank you," Chris sealed another layer of his defense. Deep down, he was trying to control the pain by becoming invulnerable. It's a move well known to anyone who has stumbled on disappointment. You don't shut down because you're cold, but because opening up means risking that pain all over again. Have you ever noticed how sometimes independence becomes a shield? Echoes of abandonment, seeking parents, fleeing connection. The curious thing? Even while fleeing from ties, Chris attracted profound encounters. Ron Franz, a lonely old man, offered him affection as if he saw in him the son he never had. Chris even smiled, allowing himself a moment of care. But as soon as he felt the connection deepen, he disappeared the next day. It's as if life was challenging him. What if this time the love isn't a lie, but fear speaks louder? How many times have you sabotaged something good just to avoid repeating old pains? Chris always seemed to go one step further. The more he felt someone could truly love him, the more he needed to leave. These encounters weren't random. They were rehearsals for healing, but without trust, they slipped through his fingers. His pattern was clear: to long for belonging while simultaneously sabotaging every real chance to receive it. The myth of freedom, solitude as a trap. Finally, Chris reaches Alaska, the ultimate symbol of freedom, raw nature, and absolute silence. There, with his skin burned by the cold and his stomach aching with hunger, he discovers another kind of silence, the emptiness of shutting out the entire world. The days are long, food is scarce, but what corrodes him most is the growing space between himself and others. On a page in his journal, he writes, "Happiness is only real when shared." Perhaps you've experienced that bitter feeling of achieving a dream alone and realizing too late that you didn't just want to win, but to share the victory. Alaska is just the setting here. The real journey was internal, and solitude, a cruel teacher. Epiphany and tragedy. Chris's last whisper. The great tragedy of Chris McCandless wasn't dying from cold or starvation. It was realizing, at the very end, that he was seeking redemption through reconnection. He wanted to go back, to mend the ties, but the river had swollen, and the path back had become impossible. Sometimes life gives you the right insight when there's no time left to fix things. How many of us have felt this painful timing? The urge to apologize only after the door has closed, or the desire to hug someone who has already gone. Chris says goodbye by writing in the margins of his journal, for the first time, without trying to prove anything. He needed genuine connection. The failure to find the way back is a universal pain. Chris wasn't just searching for wild freedom or authenticity. Deep down, he wanted a safe place for his wounds, a place without masks, without judgment. That is the tragedy and the beauty of his journey, discovering that the true Alaska we seek is the place where we believe we can be whole, without fear. And now I ask you, what is your Alaska? What place, habit, or escape do you run to when you were trying to avoid a pain you don't want to face? Share it in the comments below. Your story might be the map someone else needs to read today. If this reflection resonated with you, subscribe to Inner Compass and turn on notifications. This is your safe space for emotional discovery. In our next video, we were going to explore why we tend to push away the very people who could help us the most. I'll see you there.